I constantly watch closers lose a sale because they have no process. Almost every closer that I watch the call, they think they lose the deal at the end of the call in objections, but it is almost never the case. It's usually because they don't have a strong enough discovery and a strong enough sales process. So today I'm going to be looking at a closer's full discovery process, which is broken, and I'm going to fix it right here, one problem at a time. A lot of high ticket closers in this industry aren't closing to the level that they could be because they've gone through some course or some mentorship and they have no real understanding of what it actually takes to take someone from being interested all the way to a decision. And we do this by having a real understanding of buyer psychology and what drives decisions. I've closed hundreds of millions of dollars in high ticket sales, and I did it all without ever sounding like a salesman. And this is the same method that I'm going to go through today live so you can apply it to your next call. And by the end, you've got a discovery that closes without any pressure. Let's get into it. How did you get into high ticket closing, man?
Long story. So I started off in insurance, actually. So did some life insurance stuff. Absolutely hated it.
Why?
Just because of the fact that I didn't like what I was selling, right? I didn't like being around that sort of sale just because I didn't get excited about it, per se. I didn't really like it in that realm of like speaking about things every day, having those conversations. So I wanted to get into something that was a little bit more fun, or how I saw it was fun.
How old are you?
25.
25. Okay. How long were you in insurance sales for?
Maybe a year and a half.
Okay. How did you learn high ticket sales?
Actually, Luke Alexander. Yeah, so I got involved kind of with his original coaching program back in the day.
When was that?
That was just an online program.
I meant, when did you initially go through that program?
Early 2024.
Okay, all right.
Broke into setting. Couldn't find a job I wanted, but I was able to find a company called Mastermind. So that was Tony Robbins, Dean Graciosi's company. And the cool part about that was like they're one of the biggest names in info where they had a physical like location, right? So I got to go into the office. I was around a lot of like high performers. I learned really quick. Started off as the SDR, worked my way up into it, briefly closed there for a little bit, and then since recently just transitioned into my own thing with my buddy and then his business partner.
Okay, so you're selling for your friend's company now.
Correct.
And this is the AI offer that we're going to go through today.
Exactly.
So this is helping people break into AI and set up their own AI agency, right? So it's under like the BizOp umbrella.
100%.
Okay, all right. How long have you been selling this offer for?
5 months.
If we look at the coaching and training that you've undergone so far, you've gone through Closer Cartel, was it called?
Yep.
Yeah,
correct.
Back in the day. And then I'm guessing you had quite a bit of training inside Mastermind.
Mastermind, yeah.
Probably pretty high level sales training there.
Yeah, learned a lot.
And any more mentorship, coaching since that point, or have you just been running and gunning it?
I mean, since that, I've been running and gunning, and then I did a lot of just, YouTube University stuff, right? Sit there all night, clock into that. I watched a lot of those Jeremy Miners dudes.
Yeah.
The Egan guy got broke into your stuff. I started watching a little bit of you as well. Honestly, love doing it on YouTube also, just because during your day, during all the calls, you can easily just skip over, find your mistakes. But yeah, so I've been doing that really since, no other training.
Okay, cool. How much you been making recently? Were you saying you're like 6 to 8K roughly at the minute?
Yeah, broke past higher a few times recently. It's been a little bit lower.
Okay, all right. What would you like to be earning?
For sure, around at least consistent 10K, 15K marks.
All right. And what do you feel as though are the main gaps in maybe your skill set? Is there a particular area of the call that you feel as though needs the most amount of work?
I would say I feel like I make a lot of statements.
Okay.
I feel like I can tell sometimes it can be a little combative. I'm someone who's not afraid to like call stuff out and like people to a standard, but maybe I'm a little bit too like abrupt. I don't feel like I get into the pain as well.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really like expand onto it as much. I feel like I get a lot of people who I ask great questions and I get them in the pocket to have urgency, but not enough urgency to actually buy like that day, like on the call that day, right? Like I want to buy now means like, okay, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So those are probably my biggest issues I see with my process.
All right, cool. So what I'll do, I'll pull this video up and I'll just start it at particular areas, and we'll go through it together and see what we did well, what we could have improved on, and at least you can probably walk away from this with a new format, a new process. I'll obviously send this over to you when we're done, and it can hopefully help you get to those higher ticket months.
Doing some team events and everything like that. Happy you could hop on. We'll go over a game plan with you. You have like some notes to take in front of a computer? You got a full hour?
Not right at the moment, no. I thought it was just going to be a call, but anyhow.
So straight away, as we're walking into the call, walk me through what your process is currently to how to open a call.
My thought process with the call starting is I have kind of taught myself to like have almost no frame because I feel like it makes the conversation more natural
Yeah.
to me, where I feel like I can be more friendly, not as stuck up.
Yeah.
So I basically, my frame I created is no frame.
Yeah, I agree completely. I don't like forced frames, but we get the frame naturally by our presence and by the questions that we ask. That's my belief as well. So I agree with you there, but still we still have to have a process, right? Otherwise it's random. We need to know why we're doing certain things. So when you enter a call right now, in your mind, what's like the first go-to question?
First go-to question is like what they're trying to achieve is like an outcome for themselves.
Okay, before that.
For that, first question is generally just how can I help?
So the issue with how can I help, it's way too open.
Yeah.
You should never ask a question as a closer that you don't already know the answer to. And also, who else says, how can I help in life, in other areas of life?
A waiter.
Yeah, a waiter, who else? Like a shopkeeper,
True.
someone in a clothing store. And do we view them as higher status or lower status?
Probably lower status.
Yeah, so straight away you're sort of entering a frame. So even though you're not framing your own call, you are setting a frame. You're setting at someone that's lower status. The intro of the call, you're establishing a few different things. The first is you need to disarm them because people entering sales conversations, they're high cortisol, stressed out. People don't like it. It's uncomfortable. So you need to get rid of that to begin with. And the other is, can I trust this person? So straight away, if you how can I help? It's too open. It's unfocused. I'm sure you can probably attest to this. Do people just verbal diarrhea when you say how can I help? A lot of the time, yeah? And they just spew a load of crap at you.
True.
And you're lost. So how I would always enter a call to begin with, number one, be comfortable in like negative space and be that like presence and that authority figure. So they open the call, just be like, how do I sound? Does that sound good? Cool. Pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the call. Do you send them stuff?
Yep.
Okay. That's where I'd go first. The reason is because it gets them to recall the emotion when they book the call. So I'd either go, what did you see that actually prompted you to take next steps and look at this a little bit further? That'd be the first thing. So understand that moment when they booked a call. What was that? What emotion did they feel there? Straight away, they'll say, oh, well, I've been following XYZ guy for a while, or I saw this ad, it looked really interesting. They're already starting to sell themselves a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, if you've sent them a pre-call resource, try to make a little joke about it. Or if they spoke to a setter, try to take the piss out of them a little bit. That's what I like to do. Say, we sent you over that free resource. It didn't bore you to death, did it? It didn't bore you to tears. You didn't fall asleep when you were reading it. Oh, no, ha, ha, ha. Straight away, God comes down a little bit. Or if they spoke to a setter, like I have a female setter, I usually say, God, she didn't ask you out no date or anything, did she? She didn't like taunt you to death. Ha, ha, ha. You just get a little bit of a laugh. You're a person. You're there on the call. Okay? So even though we're not setting a frame, we are setting a frame. We're the authority.
Mm-hmm.
We are the one asking questions. We are asking focused questions. We're disarming them and we're getting them to recall what prompted them to book. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
Everything's intentional, what we're doing at the beginning of the call, rather than unfocused and we're just getting broad answers. Yeah?
Makes sense.
Because I imagine from here now it's going to be a bit like fumbled and a bit scattered because we've not been dialed in. The one thing I did like is getting them to grab a pen at some point, but usually I'd wait until we're sort of in the discovery section to ask, just grab a pen a minute and tell them to do it.
Yeah.
How much time do you got? You want to get all settled in? Are you able to?
Let me see what I can get. Hang on.
Just realizing how close I sit to the camera.
Yeah, that is another thing that I would pick up on. Is you're a little bit too close. I think it's quite good if you can show your hands as well in calls. I already can tell this guy's going to be a bit of a tricky one.
Okay.
Do you got a full hour to have a conversation?
Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
Now, I don't actually ask that question. I know a lot of people do. I just make sure the calendar reflects the amount of time that you want them to be on the call. So whatever slot that you've got,
Okay.
make sure it says it's an hour, not half an hour.
It does.
It says half an hour.
No, it says an hour.
Well, I just make that presumption then, to be honest. Again, I feel like it puts you in like a worse authority position if you're asking them if you've got
I
time.
could see that.
I just prefer to make that presumption. They booked on the calendar. They know it's an hour. If you're feeling people drop off halfway through, just send them a message before the call. So send them a message, tell them it's going to be a full hour, and to make sure that they're somewhere settled, they've got a pen, and they're ready to take notes. Pre-handle all this shit before the call.
Makes sense.
So then we're not doing it at the start. Do you have a pen? Are you somewhere quiet? Have you got an hour? It's a bit messy. Get all that shit done beforehand. And then they're in a buying state already.
Yeah.
Instead of you trying to manipulate them when they're on the call and trying to get them in a quiet place, it's all done before the call.
Makes sense.
What?
Awesome. Well,
I was just going to say, those first lot of texts that you were sending me, I couldn't reply to them. They wouldn't let me reply back.
it wouldn't let you reply back. Yeah, I was noticing that. I was just confirming that you were all good to go, because we get a lot of applications for our team. So that's just the way we were like, okay, hey, is Ron there? Is Ron ready to go or whatnot? That everything like that.
Yep.
Well, man, obviously here to possibly start or scale your AI agency. Is that correct?
Again, that's first opening question. If I asked you, what's the reason behind you asking that question?
Under the presence of knowing that they want to start a business or make like a change, or they know like what this is.
Mm-hmm. Do you get a lot of people that don't know what it is?
Potentially.
So I would try and sort that pre-call.
Yep.
Pre-call education, pre-call information.
Mm-hmm.
Even from you, what's a really handy thing is you having like a loom that you record at the beginning of each week and fire it across to all your prospects. Yo, it's Jake. You're going to be speaking with me later today. Here's a little bit about me. Introduce yourself. What this call is going to be about is this, this, and this. I'm sending you over this free training. Make sure you watch it. It is a requirement before the call.
Sure.
Again, all of this is sorted pre-call. The close starts before the call, most of it. We want people moving in, fully informed. They know what the call's about. They're in the right position to make a decision. And then you're straight in being that leader and that presence on the call. Because that to me is like a wasted question.
I can see that.
Think of your questions like ammo, like bullets. You've only got so many of them before you get buyers tiring out of all your questions. So each one needs to be sniper precise.
I don't have an agency, so I don't know if this is the right fit for me, but I just feel that AI is the way to go. So anyhow.
Yeah, I said start or scale, right?
Yep.
So like, so wanting to possibly start, correct?
Yep.
Okay. How can I help you specifically? And we'll go from there.
So opening questions. How can I help you? We've obviously already covered why I feel as though that could be a little bit problematic, but to just give you some alternatives, what's the biggest reason you're looking to start a scale an AI agency right now? Outcome, straight away. We're straight into the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Depends how deep you want to go with this straight out the bat.
Yeah.
For me, I prefer getting to the why and the significance behind the why straight away.
Yeah.
So you could even say, what I found we've helped over 150 business owners over the past year. I don't know how many you've helped, but let's use that as an example. So what I found, we've helped over 150 people over the past couple of years. Guys who've made the most profitable, most successful businesses. They're all deeply connected to the why and the outcome they're looking for, but most importantly, why that's significant to them. The reason that's so impactful is it allows them to become a leader. It allows them to make uncomfortable choices and commit to higher levels. So inside this conversation, for you, what's your why behind building this and how significant is that to you? Something along those lines. So we can either start a little bit more broad, or we can just go straight for the kill, so to speak, and get that really, really strong outcome. The reason I look to get a strong outcome at the beginning of the call, that's like a contrast point. And that allows us to contrast everything that they're saying to us about the current situation, the problems, what they've tried in the past, their limiting beliefs, their objections to that. And that acts as our North Star, our anchor point.
Yeah.
It's good to get that really strong contrast straight out the gate. And then it sets a precedent for the rest of the call then. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on that?
I would say, again, like a lot of the reason I did that or do that is just makes me feel like it's more of the conversation. I guess that's what caused me to do that, right? But I love that points because it's like, again, a few ammo questions, and that's, I mean, we got to be straight to the point, right? We're on limited time, right? I love this so much because I'm just noticing so many things already, even myself, like as you're going through it. So yeah, this is really good.
Cool. Does that make sense how I'm like aiming for that really strong outcome? And there's play around with it because you know your buyer type better than me.
Yep.
So it depends who you're dealing with. If you're more B2C, you can get really, really impactful straight away.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with people who are a little bit more business ownery, then you have to be a little bit more lean back.
Sure.
Try and think of a question. How can I get past someone saying, I want to make a bit more money?
Yep.
How can we get past that?
Yep.
How can we get past someone saying, well, AI is interesting. Why to you? And what's the significance or the importance behind that to them? So that's what's going to drive them.
Makes sense.
How can you help me? Well, what do you got to offer? I don't even know what's out there. So
Yeah.
I'm
Did
gonna
you
make money out of it, and that's
did
that's
you
basically. And I want to be able to work from anywhere like you're doing now. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess help me understand kind of our situation now. We can build a game plan around it with you.
So from there, instead of we've gone from outcome straight into situation.
Correct. That's what I did, which is incorrect.
Yeah. So there's different ways we can do this. Number one, he's trying to take frame here.
Sure.
You can see that, right? He's trying to take frame from you. What can you offer? What have you got to offer me? That's because you didn't hold the frame at the beginning. He's now taking it. I personally, in this scenario, I would go back to outcome and what he's looking for, why that's significant, why it's important to him, and just ask the question again. It is important in sales. Prospects will often not answer our question.
Nope.
And sometimes we trick ourselves that they have, and it's like, oh, I'll move to the next point in my sales process. But you need to have that acute awareness and listening ability to think, did they actually answer my question there? And if they didn't, I'm going to rewind and ask it in a slightly different way. Sometimes what I might do is explain why I'm asking it. You know, if they've shown a bit of resistance to answering the question, it's go, well, the reason I'm asking this question is X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So for you, and ask the question.
I guess the way I viewed it is like, if I don't get the answer I want, I don't like let it go. I feel like I just come back to it, because it helps me feel like I'm more in a conversation. But I could see that where that takes longer, trumps me up.
Yeah.
It's not as in flow.
Yeah.
Right. Wasted space.
Yeah.
I guess that's been the way I've thought about it.
Yeah. Now, just to add here,
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that as long as you're getting the really strong outcome, the problem of the current situation, the impact of it, the cause of it, and the context around it, you can sort of get them in any order, really, before you get into limiting beliefs, before you get into commitment to make a change now. But those three aspects, I think you can sort of do them in any order, in my opinion. I'm not too rigid about it. But what we don't want to do is like constantly flip-flop between, oh, I'm going to give you a bit of an outcome question, then a bit of a pain question, then a bit of context. Because what that does is it removes the tension from the conversation. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
If we're like probing on one point, that's when we start building like emotional tension and depth. It's like the bed of nails analogy. If you've got a bed of nails and you lead on it, there's no impact, there's no emotion or pain felt. But if you lie on one nail, that's when you start to feel it.
Yeah.
So if we're going down the road of outcome, I prefer to focus on that and really get some depth behind it and get that emotional impact before I move on. Because if you constantly flip-flop between them, okay, you might get them all, but you're not going to have that same level of like, oh, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The way I view the conversation is like, I try to get the thing they're wanting to achieve, because obviously they don't have it yet. So they're going to tell me what they're doing now, which means that's making them not have that yet. Right. So when I try to probe on their current situation, I feel like I get lost with like where I'm leading it to get like a true, like real pain. That's why I'm asking questions like how long, right? Provoking, saying something like kind of with no context like that, like trying to get him to open up, because I actually feel like that's probably the weakest part of what I do. I want to have intention behind getting to like the right pain, which I don't know how to do that well.
You need to get context to begin with. Context is king always, which you're doing a good job of here. Let's just get the facts out of the way to begin with, because you can't go into depth until you've got all the facts. Okay. So once you've got the facts out of the way, then you can start saying, so what is it that you're doing currently to work towards being able to travel while you're retired? That would be a good question here to understand, well, what is he doing currently and why is that? And then whatever he says, my follow-up question from that would be, so what is it about that that's not really working as well as you'd like it to be? And then we're into pain. And then you can keep probing. What's the impact of that? What's the cause of that? Does that make sense?
What if they were like, I'm not doing anything?
Well, I need the outcome to begin with. So if we role played it and
not doing anything toward the outcome.
What is the outcome?
Freedom. In his words, he wanted to live the life I was living. I was traveling right here. It's actually a few weeks ago. So his outcome is like traveling, freedom, more time for him and his family, right? Making money outside of being in the oil field, right?
Why is that so important to him though?
Because he feels like he's maybe missing out on something, or I guess I don't know.
What do you feel? We can role play it. What do you feel as though you're potentially missing out on with the structure currently?
What do you feel like you're missing out with? Say it again.
So he's saying the reason why you're struggling here,
Yep,
is because you haven't got that strong outcome. That's why you can't get there, because you haven't got any outcome. He's just said some flippant thing to you and said, I want to be able to travel, but you have no depth behind that whatsoever.
Travel for what?
For what?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Yeah.
Why is that important to you? Why is that significant? How much money do you need to be making in order to do that?
So the outcome isn't just an overarching outcome. It's really like a string of things that's like it's unique to them
Depth and why?
at the very start.
Yeah, I would do, yeah. You can always go pain first as well, and that's fine. But we still need that strong outcome. Yeah, at the beginning of the call.
Got it. Mine's just weak
Yeah,
or it doesn't exist.
yeah. You've just got a flippant comments, and now you're trying to figure out. Let's say, for instance, we're here in the call, and we're starting with pain. Okay, so then realistically, me thinking between the lines here, he's a minor. They work on site. If he's got a family, he's got no time with them. If he's looking for things to do after retirement, it means his super, which is like an Australian pension pot, doesn't pay him enough money to live the life that he wants. So that's where my brain goes straight away. So then I know what questions I'm going to ask him. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd ask him, why, how come you don't just rely on your super when you retire? Can you not just kick back and relax? Why is that not for you? Why not just carry on mining? All of these questions, and they'll lead you to your answer. And that's when you'll start probing and get in depth at that point.
Got it. Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, so I'm lost because I don't have a clear thing.
Yeah.
I love that. That's good.
Again, what kind of shifted for you now? Is it because of the retirement, or is it like what changed for you to
more the freedom to be able to work from anywhere?
If people give you words like freedom, independence, provider,
Make more money.
make more money, that means nothing to you.
Yeah.
So get them to define it. Everything means nothing unless it's defined. So if someone says freedom, I have a lot of conversations. What I've noticed is that freedom means a lot of different things to different people. So for you, like, could you define it? What would it look like to you?
Got it.
Yeah?
What if someone was like, I just want to add a new revenue stream to what I'm doing now. I want us to supply my other business. My priority is my other business.
How come you don't just double down on that?
Well, I already have. It's great. It works great for me, but I don't want to miss out on this opportunity in AI. Like, I want to be able to make more money, right?
When you say more money, like roughly how much would you look to be making from this business?
I mean, I would say really anything that would be like about what I'm making now. I honestly just want to like double my income,
Okay, and what are you making currently?
like 20K a month.
What's got you thinking you want to actually even make more money than you do? Because I know a lot of people, right? They just kick up, they relax at 20K a month. How come you're not willing to do that?
Because I just want to I want to keep growing. Like, I don't want to miss out on these opportunities. I missed out on doing crypto. I missed out on running all these other businesses I've seen drop shipping. But this one like makes the most sense to me, clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, who's not using AI?
Sure.
I'm like, why don't I just do this too?
Yeah, but if you what I don't understand is if your business is doing 20K a month, how come you don't just double down on that, get that to 100K a month, 200K a month?
I would say because,
Do you see where I'm going with this?
yep. I would say because right now, I mean, it's pretty streamlined for me. Like, I have a lot more time outside of it. And I feel like putting more execution into scaling it might not be like worth it. Like, I don't know if that's gonna be worth it to continue to scale.
How do you mean?
Because I feel like I have a good base around it, and then like I don't have a direction as to like what I want to do with it like long term. Like, I might end up selling it or whatnot.
Okay, so do you feel as though like scale is limited in your current business?
It's there, but I just feel like maybe it's not worth it to do long term because it's going to be a lot of extra work.
What do you mean by not worth it? Let me just give you an example.
Yeah.
For instance, like Michael Jordan didn't all of a sudden start playing American football because the people who usually are the smartest, most successful people,
Yeah.
they understand that if they're scaling a business or a skill, to go all in on it is how you achieve mastery, and that's when you actually start making the most money.
True.
So if you're looking at another vehicle, help me to understand what this is, I guess hopefully going to allow you to achieve that maybe this current business won't.
I guess it would be I could spend less time on it. I could work by myself instead of having like employees. I want to be able to have more time with like my family, my kids.
So that's when we'd start to get it. But someone like that, you might have to battle a little bit. Obviously, that's not perfect. That's just off the cuff. But if you're coming up against a lot of buyers like that,
Yep.
you need to understand that no matter what they say, there is something that's missing.
And that's why they're there today.
That's why they're on the call. So you've got to that's your job to figure that out. Sometimes they might not even know what that is themselves. So it's your job to offer them that clarity. Just make sure you don't come across as combative.
How do you do that?
Be really curious like I was. It was like, I don't really understand. I'm a bit lost. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, play a bit confused.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get a guy that's doing $1 million a month coming in and saying, I just want to set up like a new business randomly. It's very rare.
Yeah.
They're not going to be on the call. It'll be someone the current business is taking too much time or they're not making enough money in their current business and they want to make more money. So it's either capped or there's too much time, and you've got to get that out of them. What is it that they're hoping this new business allows them to achieve? What's different about this path? And then your pain section is going to be digging into that even further and understanding why it's capped, what the current business is preventing them from doing, losing time. So that's where your head needs to go with it.
I feel like in the moment when I ask the questions, I feel like I don't have like that sense of direction like you do, whether it's experience or whatnot. Because you're obviously like, that was really like, that opened up for me the way you said that. For me, sometimes I get blanked out when I'm faced with what they tell me, and I just say a question
Yeah.
to try to keep it moving, say something, but then maybe that question doesn't have that much weight to it. So how do I beat that? How do I get more familiar with that? Say the right thing, choose like the right words to use.
Do you have a process currently that you're following, or are you just you're scripting it?
I have a script, and then I role play with my team. That's what I do normally. That's my normal process.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest thing that I've done is I used to get so used to going, oh, I'm going to change my process. I'm going to change this. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to change this word. I'm going to do, and then I finally felt at peace when I gave myself a deep breath about it. And I'm like, okay, Jake, how about you just like be a professional, show up, have some authority, act confident, put on a nice shirt, get to work, right? And I feel like that's just kind of helped me more.
Yeah.
Because when I focus so on like the little tiny nitty-gritty things, I start to get a little bit overwhelmed with it.
Yeah.
I would say.
So how I teach sales that might be different than how you've learned so far is we understand the why behind why we're doing everything.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm able to do that just now with no script. I've never sold this offer before.
No.
And I can just reel something off, even though it's not perfect. But you understood my intention behind it. It's because I understood why I'm doing certain things. So instead of just thinking, I've got a script in front of me, I know here I need to get a goal.
Yeah.
But you don't know, like I can see really you don't understand why you're doing that and why that's so important to get. And so when someone says something to me on a sales call that might not make sense, or it might be taking it in a different direction, or they might be a bit closed off, because I have that deep understanding of what drives decisions and the psychology behind it, I can sort of do it on the fly. So I sell scriptless, completely scriptless. I don't have a script, but I've also got banked all these questions in my memory and the structure in my mind that I'm viewing it like buckets almost, if you think of it. So I've got my outcome bucket.
Yeah.
And I know when that's full. And I know when I've got the right amount of impact there. And then I've got, so I call it the promised land. I know when I've got to the promised land of the outcome.
Yeah.
And then I've got the pain bucket. I know when that's overflowing. I know when I've created real impact and I've created an emotion. So in my mind, when I'm running these calls, I've got all these sort of buckets that need filling. Before I pitch someone, I'm not going to pitch anyone until they're all full.
Yeah.
So then we've got the third bucket, which is like the void or the gap, where we've really got them to feel the difference between where they are currently and where they want to be. Is that full? And then I'm looking at patterns. I'm looking at what objections are they telling themselves, why they haven't got to that outcome already, and have we pre-handled those? Have we got them out of the way? Is that bucket full? And the final one is getting them to commit to the change now. Not commit to the product, commit to changing how they're doing things, beliefs, decisions, patterns, and get them to commit to that. I'm not going to pitch until all those buckets are full. So I've just learned each of those sections of a call and got a bank of questions and understanding of why I'm doing that. And that's what enables me to sort of navigate a little bit more freely on a call.
Okay.
Because I've got a format and a structure, but it's just baked in. And that's sort of how I teach sales as well.
Love that.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Makes sense.
That right there is what the anti-sales method is built around. No pressure, no scripts, just genuine clarity for the person that's sat in front of you. It's also exactly what I teach all of my students inside Remote Wealth. 16 weeks of direct coaching with me in small groups, plus access to hundreds of live hiring opportunities for super high paying remote sales roles every single month. So you can actually perform at an elite standard. So if you want to close like this, the link is in the description. Go and grab it now.
So you don't feel like you've had that level of freedom you want to just be like, what are those hours like? What is your day?
My work is not too bad because I work weekends, which is 3 12-hour shifts, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
But it didn't used to be like that. That's just what it is now.
No.
Yeah.
No. It was, well, when I had my own business, it was 24/7. So
Yeah. Yeah.
never
Man,
really
but
switched off.
Okay. And when did this idea start coming about for you?
I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to lead him into a water that you want to be in.
Correct.
You got to be careful with this, because if you deal with any sort of prospect with a level of, I don't even like saying the word sophisticated, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
You'll trigger sales resistance,
100%.
and they'll be like, I know what you're fucking doing.
Yep.
And again, we want people to forget they're on a sales call.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's the ultimate objective here, for you to just become that trusted advisor that sat there and helping them get to where they want to go. As soon as you do things like that, people sort of can feel it a little bit, that you're trying to push them into a certain area.
In like the weeds like that as much. You're kind of just like a overseer of all of it.
I used to be like that, but now I'm just back on the tools again.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the goal, man. It's like almost just replacing the income you have now, or at least like getting into that. Like what needs to happen in order for us to get there?
So for this guy, let's just get really clear on what we needed from it to begin with. So we need a much clearer outcome. We need to know exactly what he's aiming for and why it's significant for him, why it's important for him, why it's a priority for him. Get him to actually feel that. And now we need to understand the problem of his current situation, which we don't really have. You just sort of said, oh, I can imagine it's a little bit taxing, or I can imagine it's like a bit rough on the body. We needed to get him to say that by asking that question. What is it about being down the mines that means you're not wanting to just continue this into the future? Why is that not working as well as you'd like it to be? Find out the problem with that, the impact of the problem, the cause of the problem. Then from this point on, then we're going to establish the gap between where he wants to be and where he is. For this guy, though, it might not have been a problem with current situation. What it might have been is a problem with future situation. So there's a little nuance to this, especially with people who are going into retirement. He might be panicking a little bit. The pot that he's got set to one side might not be sufficient for him to live the life that he wants post-retirement. And that might be the problem. And you might have missed it completely. From like my level of emotional intelligence with guys like this, that's what I'm guessing. So that'd be a big question that I'd be asking. How come you don't just, see these last couple of years out on the tools, kick your feet up and relax on the retirement money? Big question. Why not just do that? How come? And they'll tell you why not. Yeah. And then you're gonna open a whole new can of worms.
Because I asked the right question.
Pardon?
Because in that sense, it felt like you asked the right question to ask, when I don't feel like sometimes I'm asking the right question.
Yeah. It might be because you're relying on a script, in my opinion. Because what happens if you're relying on a script, right? A script is linear. So as soon as you get someone like this who's all over the place, you're like, oh, fuck, that's outside of this linear track. And I don't really know where to go. I don't know what questions to ask because he's not fit inside my box. Scripts are great for 10% of prospects.
Yeah.
You need this outside skill set so you can deal with any prospect.
Yep.
And that's what enables you to be a little bit more fluid on a call instead of struggling with these questions. I know I've been in this exact same position, right? When I first got started and I was stuck on a script, as soon as you got someone who was a bit messy, how long, you don't really know where to go. And because you get so overwhelmed, which is the position you're in now, you just move on to the next stage.
Correct.
Without getting that depth, because you think, I don't know where to go.
Makes sense.
Place the income I've got. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What does that look like? Just so I have an idea.
It's 180 Australian.
Okay. So yeah, definitely gonna be some clients, right? It's not, so it's, yeah. And I'll be the first to tell you, Ron, it's like, dude, I can help you no matter which way, any skill set you have, how much time you got 5 to 10 hours per week to put in this. I can help you, but it's just going to be some skill building. Like really.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sure you're good at managing a team, which is going to be helpful for you when you're managing your clients, speaking with business owners, right? But the other side of it for you that we can coach you on, and it's actually simple because we pre-built out everything for you to use, is our actual technology system. It's already kind of all automated.
I'm going to give you a rule as well. Depends on what offer you're selling, but minimum a 15-minute rule. You're not allowed to speak about your offer. You're not allowed to speak about yourself. You're not allowed to pitch. You're not allowed to speak about the industry, nothing. And just as soon as you log onto a call, clock the time and think, the time starts now, I'm not allowed. Because what a lot of salespeople do is when they run out of questions, start pitching. I'd prefer you to do a 20-minute rule where you're not allowed to speak about your offer, you're not allowed to pitch, you're not allowed to say you can help them at any point until before 20 minutes. And that'll force you to adapt and not just rely on pitching.
What would you say? This guy didn't watch videos.
Yeah, tricky.
He barely understood anything.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I needed to explain to get him to close on this call. Because the goal is to close on the call.
I think what you did right with this guy at the beginning was give him that chunk of information. But the truth is, this guy's never going to buy on this call, I don't think, because the work before the call wasn't done.
Interesting. Okay.
We needed him to have watched all of that stuff to be in at least a state of informed before he got onto the call. You can't take someone from having, you can, but it's bloody hard work. Did you close this guy?
Follow up.
Did he close?
No, I lost to the partner objection at the end. Because I actually eventually We can watch it. I started asking the right questions eventually,
Mhm.
and then I put them in the right spot.
Yeah.
And then again, the industry, the program didn't matter because I solved the actual problem, but still didn't close on the call.
Yeah. Again, it's ethically as well. We want people to come into these conversations like really well informed. Even if it's your buddy or whoever you're working with right now, if he doesn't do it, you do it because you'll close more.
I would say that not everyone's like that comes on. This guy just happened to be. The reason I brought this call today is because I wanted to
Yeah, it's a
learn
tricky
from.
one. Yeah,
I want to
sure.
learn from how you would handle this situation.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like I'm not that proud of this one. There's definitely some things I feel like I do a lot better in different calls, but I think this is a great one to learn from. Because this is the type of situations you deal with every day when there's these types of people, right?
Yeah.
It's not always the guy that's ready to jump in, right?
I wish it was, but it's not, unfortunately. But what you can do, this is a little bit like looking at the symptom of a bad pre-call process
True.
and not holding him to accountability before the call to make sure he's watching stuff. So for me, when I was on an offer, even though the offer owner, they sent over like a couple of shitty videos and stuff before, but it wasn't anything that engaging. I would like pull one of the guy's YouTube videos that was really good, and I'd send it to the prospect beforehand. I don't want to say his name, but XYZ coach shot this last week, and I think you'll find it really interesting. Do you mind watching it for me before our call? So at least you're in a place to ask me some really good questions. Fire that across them 2 days before the call, and they'll already watch the pre-call videos, and they're coming into the call like so much warmer, so much more interested with questions. Frame it like that. Frame it and say, so you can ask me some really good questions.
Sounds a lot better than make sure you watch this video.
Yeah, yeah. If you're calling them, you know, you sound like the sort of guy who likes to do his due diligence and get the right amount of information before he makes a decision. So let me send you a load of stuff. Do you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes to work through it all before the call? Yeah? Awesome. Get that across to him. All of these little decisions you'll make before a call increase your show rate, number one, massively. What's your show rate like?
Show rate probably 45, 50, 60.
I mean, 45.
No, call it 60.
Oh, well, 60 is, you know, not too bad. But by you doing these little steps, I mean, it might take you 15 minutes a day. You can easily bump that up to 70, 75% over a month. That's a lot more commission in your pocket from those stragglers who were a bit on the fence. If you just take that extra step, I used to do it first thing in the morning. So as soon as I got up, as soon as I got to the office, went through my meetings for tomorrow, 24 hours, sent them all a voice note, sent them over some shit. WhatsApp voice note. You Yanks don't use WhatsApp, do you? Do you use WhatsApp?
Do now.
Well, whatever. Send them a voice note, send them over some shit, and get them bought in. You want them excited,
Yeah,
not like,
100%.
I don't even know what this is. It's hard to call someone like that.
100%.
Foundations. Again, at the end of the day, something we'll have to be okay with, Ron, is like before getting started with something like an online business, obviously you don't have any sort of like prior experience or knowledge, right? So some of it just has to be like.
So another example here, what you're doing, you're teaching and preaching instead of getting him to tell you that he's got no experience. How much more powerful would it be if you asked him the question, have you got any experience starting and scaling an online business? Have you ever done it before? Okay, so like what major gaps do you feel like are in your capability currently that's not going to enable you to achieve XYZ outcome? Get him to lay it all out. 10 times more powerful, yeah?
I want to give this a go. I'm going to be dedicated to learning. I'm going to put my head down, just like I've done for the past full life in my job in mining, like and learn like new skills.
Yeah.
Right. If you're committed to learning new skills, doesn't matter your background, your skill set, I can help you.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. That's what I've done. I built all these businesses on my team. It just, again, if you stick to what I built, I can help. You just got to put in those minimum 5 to 10 hours per week. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have 5 to 10 hours per week to be able to dedicate for this? Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you have a computer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the last couple of years you've been looking at building it or doing something online to give yourself more time, give yourself that freedom. Have you before ever looked into any like mentorship training or coaching before?
This is what I call like the pattern section of my call. Some people call it limiting beliefs. You call it whatever you want. But what you're looking for here, you're trying to pre-handle objections,
Yep.
right? Because you don't have a strong outcome, this is going to be really shit for you every time. Because you've been looking at freedom for a little while, what else have you tried? Freedom for a couple of years. So unspecific. Now imagine in another reality, for this gentleman here, you'd got the fact that he doesn't spend enough time with his grandkids that are on the way. He doesn't make enough money, really, to live the life that he wants. He's never been outside of wherever he lives and he wants to be able to take his wife and travel, and you asked him how long he's wanted that for, and he said 5 years, 10 years. And in this section of the call, you said, Ron, bearing in mind that you've wanted to be able to take your wife away and spend time with your grandkids and make more money so you can be that provider for your family for the past 5 years, what else have you tried? Imagine how much more impact that'd have. He'd be like, oh, fuck, why have I not tried anything? Do you get what I mean?
100%.
So much more impactful if we can get a timeline and the actual significance and importance behind that outcome when we're going into limiting beliefs. Because what he might say and what a lot of prospects will say now, it's like, well, I've only been looking at it for a couple of months. I've only been looking at an online business for a couple of months. Is that what he says?
Found you guys yesterday.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. And that's why, because you haven't created the timeline long enough. And you haven't got that impact and that depth and that you could even do it with the problem. So let's say they've been in a job that's not paying them the right amount of money, and that's limited all these different facets of their life. And you say, okay, so you've not been making the right sort of money for the past 3 years. You've not been able to do this, and this. What have you tried to change that situation? They can't say I only found yesterday. Well, if they can, it's like, well, I appreciate that, but we've been out here for a long time. There's also a lot of other great businesses and great opportunities out there. We live in the age of the internet where there's unlimited opportunities. What has maybe prevented you from going and finding it a bit sooner? Limiting belief. On a plate. Ready to handle.
I got one for you.
Go on.
I guess I just never really found anything that really I like that much. Or like, you know, this just seems a little bit different to me. So that's why it's important.
What do you mean by like that much?
You don't really like resonate with like the other things. Like, I know there's all these things out there, but like, this, like, to me just seems like this is why I want to start now, because I want to be a part of AI.
Okay, so how would you know what's like the right thing or what works for you if you don't try anything?
Great question.
Do you know what I mean? What someone's saying there that's sort of deflecting it to say that the right opportunity hasn't come to me.
True.
If you look at the smartest, most successful people on the planet, do you feel like they wait for opportunities, or do you feel like they go and find them?
Find them.
So what has maybe prevented you from going and finding something that works or changes X, Y, Z problem sooner?
Yeah.
Ownership.
What do you think's the best way to pre-handle it when they have tried other things? Hasn't worked to the level they wanted to, but they have tried, they invested, they failed, they gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if they have the awareness, they gave up too, right?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways you can do it. Number one, you need to figure out whether what they invested in, did anyone get any results?
Yes.
They did.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, let's say they did. If they say, yeah, they did, some people did.
It looked like they did.
Yeah, okay. So what do you feel like they did that maybe you didn't? That's one step. Now, they're either going to deflect, which you need to take control of that and get them to take ownership of it again. Once they have taken ownership of it and they've said, well, maybe I did this, this, and this. Was that something that you see as a failure? Do you feel like it was a lesson, something that you learned something from?
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn from it? So how long ago was that? So in that period, what else have you tried? That's where it gets important, interesting, right? Because what a lot of people do, just a psychology, so you understand what's behind me asking these questions. People have one bad experience and they don't do anything, and they just like a baby. It's like, it didn't work out, so I'm not doing anything because the internet scares me, or whatever, business scares me, or whatever that person's chose to do. So I'm just going to say that that's all bullshit and just hide. So you need to change that belief in them.
Yeah.
There's lots of different reframes and analogies that you can use without getting into the weeds, but you can find one that resonates with you, but get them to understand what happens to their growth of whatever they're wanting to achieve. What happens to that if they hold on to that opportunity? What happens if they hold on to that bad experience?
Yeah, what they lose out on.
Yeah, what do they lose out on?
Yeah.
Do they feel like that's going to put them in a better position to achieve what they want? Or do you feel like it might be holding them back a little bit? What do they feel like they're leaving on the table? Are they ready to move past that? Are they ready to try something new and commit to it to a new standard?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, but you need to unpack it.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The main things I've looked at before were e-commerce and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I don't know, it just seems low ticket items, bloody the return on investment doesn't seem great. So,
So you mentioned this earlier. I guess I didn't answer your question. So the return on investment with this. So basically, when you're an agency owner, right? So all this is like 100% profit because it's your business. Okay.
Yep.
Now the ways that we get and acquire customers, right? It's probably about 80 or 90% margin, which is like insane. That's literally why I've doubled down and built this business. You have to earn that right though, right? And what I mean by that is like when you're getting the leads, when you're reaching out to the businesses, that process is very minimal cost. The overhead of this business is insanely minimal, almost nothing to start, except when we provide our coaching or systems. Obviously, there's an investment to that because we're helping you build the business. But 80 to 90% margins we can expect. And if on average our clientele, like what we have for our agency, what they're doing is our clients are paying us anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for an initial setup fee because we're taking the time to set up the service. Okay. where they're also paying us anywhere from 500 to about 3K per month per customer. Really just depending on our sales ability, the size of the business, and their cash flow, right?
Yep.
I'll give you an example. I just worked with this HVAC business recently in the United States, in Nebraska. Okay.
Yep.
I found out that right now he's missing about 30 calls per month from his business. Okay. Just he knows those numbers. Not that crazy, whatever. 30 calls. He has a pretty good system dialed in.
This guy is thinking, how the fuck does that apply to me?
I could see that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And you're losing him, completely losing him at this stage. Well, whenever we're pitching, which is what you're basically doing here, you're not informing him of anything, you're pitching him.
Yeah.
How does that apply to the prospect? How does that apply to them about what they've told you? So if we're going to use case studies and stories,
Yep.
let's find one that applies to a guy who's near retirement, who's getting out of a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a HVAC business that's losing revenue.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
My way of thinking on that would just be like, I wanted to prevent him not knowing anything about the business at the end of the call to where he can tell me, hey man,
Mhm.
this is the first time I heard about this. I'm going to go on my way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was trying to educate him as the call went on because I had the preface that he didn't watch videos. Right? But I agree with that because it's not relevant. I could have said something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With someone like this, in this scenario, obviously a prevention is better than a cure, always. But if you've got someone like this who's in this state of they don't know enough, I would probably look at doing a 2-call close, me personally, even though that's like, oh, the industry frowns upon it. The chances of you closing someone like this in particular, I feel as though is going to be much greater. To front end of the call, figure about them, get a good understanding of their situation, view yourself almost like a setter, get a little bit of impact, then just hook them in with a ton of open loops, send them all this information again, book another call in 24 hours. Someone's coming in like this, it's fighting a losing battle, really.
Yeah.
What's the ticket price of this offer?
4, 8, or 15K.
4, 8, or 15K.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you could probably close someone like this on like 4K maybe on 1-call close, but it depends what you want. I'm guessing you're probably going to want the 15K one.
4. That's a 4.
This a 4.
3 out of those 30 calls were actual leads, inbound leads for the business, right? His high ticket service is around 13 grand. So literally just from those 3 missed calls, he potentially missed out on $39,000 in revenue, literally only from not having the receptionist there to book the appointment, take the payment, get the process moving, right?
Yep.
So does it make sense for him to pay me 2 or 3K per month to be able to solve a $40,000 per month problem?
Certainly. Yeah.
And the goal is not for him to only save him $40,000. The goal is to also get him more leads, which will get him more calls, which will also help him create more flow, more income, more money, right?
Yep.
So that's really how we position ourselves in the market with it. Is like these business owners, the only reason they're not doing it themselves is because they don't have the time. They don't know what to do. They don't understand the technology piece, right? And then we can kind of step in and be the middleman, create that income, right?
Yep.
So ROI perspective, 80 to 90% margins. And then what we're looking at for actually like getting to a certain level of clients. If we're getting 10 clients, that's pretty much where we get 10,000 per month.
Yep. Yep.
So not that crazy. 10 businesses out there that we need to find that need help with their marketing, with their business.
Yep.
What do we think about all this stuff? Because I know it's a bunch of new information to you. Just be
No,
real.
no, I mean, and it's not, that seems very achievable sort of thing. 10 clients, I mean, there's thousands of businesses.
Well, it's very achievable, but I'm not going to sit here and say, hey man, that's the easiest thing in the world, right? Because like we got to put in the work, right? And we're running a business. Otherwise, everyone would be doing it, right?
Yeah.
It's that easy.
And I mean, the thing is, you've got to have a bit of passion about it too. Otherwise, as soon as it gets hard, you drop it.
Yep. That's why it's so crucial to work with someone like us. We build you up your momentum. We help you get your first few clients. How much more likely are you to double down and succeed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Now, did you watch any of so you have no background really information for talking to me today? Like,
No.
This is your
Sorry
first
about that. I apologize.
Yeah, it's a little tough just because like it's okay, but what I care about more, man, is like I want you to feel like you're in the position to win, and I can help with that. So, like, how about you be real with me, and I can be real with you. Like what is it you feel like? Maybe it's like your biggest concern. Maybe what do you feel like is like
My biggest concern would be just learning the system. Like selling, I can do that. I know I can do that.
Okay.
I've had to do that most of my life. I've been in mining. I was in a mining contracting company, which you still had to sell yourself. It's the systems itself, getting your head around that. That's
the technology side of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So like think about it like this, right? If I were to give you pre-built systems that were pretty much all done for you, you had to watch a few different training videos. You had a whole tech team around you who was assigned to you that you could book calls with whenever you need and share your screen with. And then you also had a one-on-one literal coach guiding you through the whole business.
Yep.
What would that do for you in terms of technology, do you think?
Yeah, no, that'd definitely be that would be a big help. Yeah, for sure.
Because right at one way or another, we have to learn the new skills anyway, especially if we want to have this life where we're working online, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we put ourselves in the best position possible, if I can give you a tech team, I can give you a one-on-one support system. right? I can give you the training videos and pre-built systems to where a lot of the technology is already taken care of for you. Do you think you can kind of do the rest and pick it apart to figure out the pieces?
Yeah.
Because I've helped out people, man. I'll be real with you. I've helped out people who literally have zero business experience or very younger guys too, right?
Yeah.
Literally just getting started, haven't sold anything before in their life, haven't managed a team. They come in my program and they've gotten a few clients in literally maybe like a week, 2 weeks, right? And that's coming from like zero experience whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
Now, the other side of things is I've helped out people who are already business owners, making $20,000, $30,000 per month with their agency. They're bottlenecked at scaling. They can't figure out how to get their next lead. They need to find a creative way to scale, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So I can help you no matter what your skill set is. I'll just build like the plan around you. And that's why I want to have a call like this, is so that way we can match our skill sets.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So for you, Ron, what do you feel like is the most skilled part about maybe your background coming into this? Like, what do you think is going to be the best? Like how do you learn best? And then why do you feel like this is going to be?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a person that I like to be shown how things work rather than just read about it, etc. So
Visual.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Very visual.
And you feel like you're going to be skilled at the team building, like the sales process?
Oh yeah, no sales. I definitely got no dramas with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I feel I don't anyway. But, yeah.
Okay. What would you say? Because 2 years you've been wanting to make a change.
I haven't committed yet.
Why do you feel like what do you feel like the biggest reason that is?
Biggest reason?
Ask questions here. We've got a partner objection straight away. Luckily, how the fuck you got that out of that, I don't know, but we'll take it. So, does she know you're on the call? Or is this like a secret mission? So, when you say she's not really supportive, have you had these conversations in the past? Is she not supportive of you having an online business, or is she not supportive of you like making more money? Which one is she not supportive of? So, if she says no and you can't progress with this,
Yeah.
are you going to do it anyway? Is this something like that you're going to do for yourself? Help me to understand all of these probing questions so we can actually get way more context on the situation instead of diving straight in and trying to overcome a surface level statement. I have a partner that's not supportive. She likes a 9 to 5. What information do we have from that? None. And this is what I see a lot in objections and handling limiting beliefs is you try to handle the surface level one.
That's what I do a lot.
Yeah. You need to get way underneath and isolate the real objection. Often what prospects will tell us on the surface is completely different than what's underneath. There's two different kinds of partner objection, right? There's responsibility based, where they're trying to deflect responsibility onto the partner, but then there's also logistical partner objections, where they share bank accounts and they're doing projects together. And if you try to handle a partner objection that's more deflection of responsibility, like a logistical one, it's not going to go well. And the same is vice versa.
Yeah.
So you need to isolate what conversation are we having here before you dive in and try to reframe someone.
Makes sense.
About like you learning the skills. You could do this while you work, just like a lot of our members do. They have a full-time job. You can learn the skills. You can start making progress. Then from there, you can easily look back and go, okay, maybe it's tangibly makes sense now for me to part ways with what I'm doing now. Maybe I can get away from this, right?
Yep.
So like, do you have the hours to dedicate outside of work to where we could build a game plan with you? So that way, okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at present, I'm only doing the
So
3 days a week.
does she not? I guess I don't fully understand. So does she not? She hasn't wanted you to do something else?
She's just never been very supportive. Yeah, I don't know. She's very skeptical all the time. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think that if we were putting you in the position where you were still doing your work, obviously you're still in your role, right? And you had the hours to dedicate toward this, and she saw you working on it, like outside of work, like would she like support you on that?
Probably not, but she'll let me do it. But I mean, she's not going to be there to support me on it. Yeah.
Again, the reason this falls flat is because you haven't got a strong outcome.
It just the whole time it
Everything
ruins
reverts.
the whole call.
Yeah, everything reverts back to that. Not a strong outcome, not a strong enough pain point, because now we're handling an objection without any context. We're just handling like this empty partner objection. But if we found out that as a unit they don't make enough money, they don't have any time together, and we had all that information, the partner objection is going to be much easier to handle. Is she coming near retirement as well? What about then? All of this extra information that if we would have got it at the beginning of the call and at the outcome, this would be so much easier to handle.
I guess that's important to me too, because like I want you to be successful with this, and I want you like that just kind of involves getting uncomfortable anyway. Like we're building a whole business, right?
Yeah.
So like, do we want to continue to letting that be the reason like we don't start?
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So like, so what changed now though? Like what changed for you to?
Nothing's changed. Why not? That would be a good follow-up question here. For if he said no, it wouldn't stop me. Why would it not? Why are you looking at this from a different perspective?
She doesn't support me, but now like I'm like screw it. I want to do it myself. Like, what changed?
What changed? I'm just as I said, I'm just overworking in the mines. It's just too
So-
much physical work. And
Yeah.
I'm just,
So there's no choice. There's no choice. It's more like, okay, like she's just gonna have to see me do this business, and that's it.
He was opening up then for like one of the first
I
times
just
in the
cut him
call,
off.
and you just jumped straight in and cut him off. When you could see his emotions shift a little bit in his body language. You see it. He's like, I'm just overworking in the mines. Should have given him a bit of space there.
I'm burning out my own fire.
Yeah, let him feel that emotion. That's the aim of the call, to get him to feel that tension, feel that emotion, and hold up that honest mirror. You're over it. Get him to expand on it. How come you're overworking in the mines? Finally, get some pain from him.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, man. Because I'm not trying to have you sleep on the couch every night. You know what I mean?
That would worry me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, man. Well, if we're ready to break past that, then that's cool. Okay. So let me understand this, man. Like, let's say we partnered together with you on the business. I gave you the right skills. I gave you the right structure you need to be successful. All these things. Like 3 months from today, like where would you like want to be in the business? Like what would like success look like to you?
Success for me was when I can quit my work, what I'm doing now.
Okay, so lots of work to do that because we're replacing the income, right? There's a lot of clients. Okay, so let's just take it step by step then. Let's take it step by step.
Yep.
Let's get to 5. Let's get to 10. Let's get to 15. Let's get to 20. Right?
Yep.
We'll work through the steps with you. Right? Literally, the only difference, Ron, between the version of you today, right, the one who's in his mining job, the one who's trying to get out of it, you're trying to basically retire from that. Have more time for yourself, your family, all these things. The version of you today, that person, the only difference from you and that guy that you're trying to be the next 3 months, 6 months, is just the skills. If we get you the right system and we get you the right skills, what's going to happen from that?
Oh, well, I'll be able to scale it, that's for sure.
Exactly, right? So that's the common denominator, right?
Yeah.
So like getting the skills is the priority. That's the most important thing. Because if nothing changes, then nothing changes, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
If you stay
We don't-
comfort zone, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, if we don't learn the right skills, most likely what's going to happen? We're going to continue to be in the same role. Would you agree?
Yep,
Right.
definitely.
Too many statements.
Yeah, but there is way too many statements, and also you're using skills as the thing that he needs to change. But that's not, is it?
His mindset.
Be more like the decisions and the beliefs that he's holding. But because we've not
Yeah.
got any depth, we've not understood what these beliefs are. What beliefs have led him to being however old he is and not achieving what he wants. But again, because we don't know what he wants, it's very hard for us to do that. This is how all these things work together.
Makes complete sense.
And we're sort of saying if nothing changes, which is great, but I don't even know what this guy needs to change at this point. What does he need to let go of? How does he need to start operating differently? Who does he need to become to actually achieve this for himself and out of his life that he's not been doing up until now? What is that change? Because I don't know what it is. And that's up to you in this call which should have been figured out and create that emotional shift.
100%.
And like, what does that look like? Like, how much longer can that realistically be the reality for us?
Yeah. Oh, it's not going to be a reality. I've got to do something. So, yeah.
Okay. So this is what I was going to say earlier, man. Okay. A lot of this business is like we just have to be okay with the uncertainty. We'll never be certain, right? Because again, when you're a business owner, it's an uncomfortable position, right? So I can get you to about 70% certainty, right? I can walk you through exactly how I can help you and give you skills, okay? But the last 30% genuinely has to come from you, and you just have to be willing to get uncomfortable because that's what this whole thing is, right?
Yep.
So like, in that sense, like if I show you what we can do for you, it checks off all your boxes. You're like, Jake, this is great, right? I still don't have all the questions in the world, but like, are you actually committed to getting started? So that way I can show you exactly how we can put you in that position, help you leave your role, start getting clients, building a business.
Yep. No, definitely.
Okay.
So that's a commitment question. What you're trying to get him to do is commit to the product before the pitch. Yeah? Is that what you're trying to do?
I want to see how serious he was on how new he was. That like if he was actually willing to make a change. Because I was.
But we don't know what he has to change, do we?
No, we don't.
And that's why this question's a little bit problematic, because we're sort of asking people to commit to a product. If the commitment question only lands if you've uncovered what behaviors, what habits, what beliefs have prevented them from experiencing this outcome already, because then you can get them to commit to holding themselves to a new standard, to letting go of a belief, letting go of a fear, letting go of procrastination, or whatever bullshit people are putting in front of them. We can get them to commit to letting go of that. Or we can get them to commit to a new identity or a new standard. That's the purpose of a commitment question. Because if you're trying to get people to commit to a product before you've offered it, a lot of people are going to push back on that as well.
True.
And they're going to say, well, I don't know what it is yet. What have you got to offer?
It happens to me.
I can imagine it would with the structure of how that question was. You're going to have a lot of people who just go, well, I don't know. You'll have to show me before I commit. So I'm guessing you're going to go on to the pitch here straight after the commitment question.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. What do you feel has been like the biggest takeaways from what we've gone through?
I don't know how to get to the real pain. I ask questions that I feel is right to ask, but they're not. and then it just leads me down a wrong path, right? But it all stems from the start, like what you told me. I don't get the right outcome, which means I don't ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Which means I don't get a good buy-in, which means I don't pre-handle the right objection.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense. I guess another takeaway is that, I mean, honestly, just like things like, dude, back up away from the camera. Also, like, don't wake up, like you're in Bali right here, like 5 a.m. call. Like, look, dude can barely open his eyes. Take care of yourself on that one, right? But that's little things. Bigger things is like get away from the script, have a better process on just getting to like the right pain, right? Don't make statements, don't interject, right? Act more confused. That's probably the biggest ones.
For me, for a high level overview of your call and just looking at it as from a more meta standpoint, enter your calls in the beginning, at the intro, as a presence. Have a pre-call process that's dialed in. So when you're entering, you can get taking them back to the moment when they booked the call. Let's start there. What emotions prompted them to book a call? Second, what did they think of the pre-call materials or the conversation with the setter? Blend a little bit of humor in.
Okay.
Straight from there, let's get to the outcome. Let's get to the significance and the why behind the outcome and start to get some depth. In BizOp, with what you're doing right now, you can go there straight away because it's people leaving their job, people trying to make more money. It's a personal thing. So you can get personal off the bat. Went through a couple of questions at the beginning that you can use there, but let's get that as the anchor and the contrast point for the rest of the call. Then you're into the problem behind the current situation. With every problem, you need to get the impact behind it. You need to get the cause. You need to get the duration. And that means you'll have like a weighty problem of the current situation. For this guy, it might also be a problem of current situation and a future situation. And then from there, you need to stretch the gap to show them the difference between, for your particular offer, the gap will be that he doesn't have the skills and he's not tried anything. So you can ask him questions like, if you tried to figure this out on your own, or how come you don't try and figure this out on your own? Establishing that gap between where they are, where they want to be. Again, adding durations in there, making it real, making it, they can get their hands on it. Then from there, we need to understand the patterns or the possible objections that has prevented them from getting here already. And this is going to help you later in the call. It's going to soften the objections at the end of the call. We're going to understand the limiting beliefs, the fears, partner, hesitation, delay, all of this shit. We need to get that out before we pitch, before we price drop, so we can soften it. We can offer them new perspectives, previous experiences, all of that good stuff. Get that out of the way. Finally, at that point, once we've got all of that weight, then we can get them to commit to a change. Now. And why now? Why is it urgent now? Cost of inaction. Why not delay things? Why not push this down the road? Why are you willing to commit to a higher standard of behavior and operation now? If you enter your call with that and build a process around that, then I feel like you're going to definitely get to that next level of commission you're looking for.
I love it.
All right.
Good.
Cool. Thank you for coming. Was it helpful?
100%.
Yeah. You're a G.
Thanks.
Thank you. So that is a broken sales process fixed. The best closers aren't the people who can push a prospect the most or pitch the hardest. They're the people who can offer a prospect real clarity and the ones that the prospects trust the most. I broke down my entire anti-sales method on another video, so that's probably the best natural next watch from here. I'll put it on screen now, and if you want to learn to close to a high level, get access to live hiring opportunities and actually get placed on an offer, the way into remote wealth is in the link in the description. Drop me a message on Instagram and I'll see you on the inside. Ciao.